Let's go Browns! What if I told you that behind closed doors in Berea, the future of the Cleveland Browns is being decided not by touchdowns or practice reps, but by ego, tension, and decisions that could tear the locker room apart before a single snap is played? What if the face of the franchise is gone, the biggest star is nearly gone, and the quarterback's fans are begging him to never take the field? This isn't just another offseason. It's a storm, quiet on the surface, but ready to explode. And in the middle of it all, a rookie under pressure, a veteran being overlooked, and a front office making changes that could define the next decade. You won't believe the depth of this story. I have a few more things to tell you, but before I go any further, make sure you like this. But only if you've been a Browns fan for 17 plus years. It's always great to see loyal fans of all generations interacting here. It means a lot to us. If you can, right, go Browns. My heart bleeds brown and orange. So, here we go. The Cleveland Browns, heading into the 2025 season, are navigating a quarterback dilemma that's dividing the locker room, the fans, and the analysts watching from the sidelines. While Kenny Pickett appears to be the coaching staff's preferred option, fans, and even some key veterans, have their eyes elsewhere. Joe Flacco, the veteran wideout who powered the team last season, remains the emotional favorite. And then there's Shedeur Sanders, the rookie whose name alone is generating more headlines than touchdowns, for now. Speaking of headlines, remember Colin Cowherd? The same guy who initially touted Shedeur Sanders as a future starter when Cleveland drafted him at number 144? That excitement didn't last. One speeding incident later, reportedly clocked at over 100 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone, and Cowherd's tone changed overnight. On national television, he slammed Sanders' maturity and decision-making, suggesting the rookie wasn't ready for the spotlight. The criticism was brutal, but even more impressive, how quickly he jumped ship. Now, let's not forget, Sanders is 23 years old, and whether you're a fan or a critic, you can't ignore the fact that Cleveland has tolerated worse, much worse, from quarterbacks over the past 2 decades. Fans were quick to react to Cowherd's turnaround. He's 23. People make mistakes. One wrote. Another took a swipe at Cleveland. You think we care about a few speeding tickets after everything we've seen in 20 years? That's the pulse. Frustrated but hopeful. Burned but not destroyed. Still, there's more than off-field chatter shaking the foundation in Cleveland. Because while fans are debating whether Sanders should start, the organization seems laser-focused on Kenny Pickett. That's right. Kenny Pickett, quiet, reliable, and anything but flashy, is being groomed as QB1. And if you think that's sitting well with the Dawg Pound, think again. Mary Kay Cabot didn't sugarcoat it. They are trending toward Kenny Pickett starting. And that's not what Browns fans want to hear. And you know what? She's right. Pickett doesn't excite people the way Flacco does with his cannon arm, or Sanders with his star appeal. If Pickett starts, the margin for error will be razor thin. A single loss, a single bad game, and the chance for Flacco will erupt like clockwork in First Energy Stadium. Dan Labb said it best. Let's say Kenny Pickett is just okay, and you're 1-3. How do you keep Myles Garrett happy? How do you keep Joel Bitonio happy? Because these guys are looking over and seeing Joe Flacco sitting there. That tension? It's already bubbling. Because Myles Garrett, fresh off a contract extension that keeps him in Cleveland through 2030, was very open about his support for Flacco. So much so, some insiders believe Flacco's potential return helped cool Garrett's trade demands earlier this offseason. And yet, Garrett's leadership, or perceived lack thereof, is another piece of the puzzle. Matt Fontana put it bluntly, Myles Garrett is not going to be a leader on your football team. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially for a guy who's been to 6 Pro Bowls, earned 4 first-team All-Pro selections, and logged 14 sacks last season alone. Garrett leads by example, sure, but when the locker room is fracturing and the quarterback situation is in flux, is example enough? And we haven't even mentioned the gut punch that hit Browns fans hardest this offseason. Nick Chubb is gone. That's right. Chubb, arguably the soul of the Browns offense, the heartbeat of their locker room, and a fan favorite since day one, is no longer with the team. It wasn't just a roster move. It was a spiritual loss. Chubb's departure leaves a void that goes beyond rushing yards and touchdowns. It strikes at the emotional core of what Browns football has been for the last half-decade. Tough, dependable, unbreakable. Losing Chubb rewires everything. The offensive strategy? Up in the air. Locker room leadership? Weakened. The Browns didn't just lose a running back. They lost their North Star. And now they're asking fans to believe, to buy in, as they hand the reins to a quarterback battle full of uncertainty and a rookie already under media fire. But maybe, just maybe, that's what makes this offseason so fascinating. Because through the haze of doubt and debate, a new identity is trying to take shape. One not defined by names or contracts or preseason predictions, but by grit, resilience, and the hunger to finally turn promise into results. Browns fans, the floor is yours. We're staring down one of the most pivotal moments in recent memory. Is Kenny Pickett the answer? Can Shedeur Sanders prove his doubters wrong? Should Flacco be the guy until the wheels fall off? And what does this team look like without Nick Chubb in the backfield? As training camp inches closer and the quarterback room tightens with scrutiny, the Browns' decision-makers find themselves in a crucible. Because when fans chant for Flacco, they're not just chanting for a quarterback, they're demanding the return of a feeling. That feeling they had in late 2023 when, against all odds, a veteran with nothing to lose and everything to prove sparked a late-season surge. That wasn't just football, that was redemption, Cleveland style. But how long can the front office resist that nostalgia? How long can the coaching staff hold the line, knowing full well that the moment Kenny Pickett stumbles, if he stumbles, the fan base will erupt, and the locker room might start looking sideways? And then there's Shedeur Sanders, sitting quietly behind all of this, watching, learning, waiting. Drafted in the 5th round, but carrying the spotlight like a franchise savior. For all the noise surrounding his off-field mistake, there's something undeniably magnetic about Sanders. He's a story. He's a symbol. And whether you think he's the next big thing or just another overhyped name, you can't ignore the buzz. But don't be fooled. This team isn't building its 2025 identity around hype. No, what we're seeing is a franchise at war with itself. Veteran loyalty versus fresh talent. Emotional momentum versus calculated strategy. And looming over it all, the ghost of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's exit wasn't just a personnel decision, it was a cultural shockwave. For years, when everything else felt unstable, Chubb was the constant. Rain, snow, injury chaos, didn't matter. You handed it to 24 and you knew something good would happen. Now, that safety valve is gone. That stability is gone. And with it, a certain sense of who the Browns were. What replaces it? That's the million-dollar question. Because as the offense retools without its engine, and the quarterback room tries to find a voice, the defense, anchored by Garrett, is being asked to carry the soul of the team. But even that isn't simple, because as much as Garrett dominates the field, the questions about his leadership persist. Can a team thrive when its alpha dog leads in silence? And let's not ignore how precarious Garrett's loyalty was just months ago. He wanted out. He was vocal, and it took a $160 million extension and a dose of internal diplomacy to keep him grounded in Cleveland. That extension is a statement, but also a warning. You don't throw that kind of money at a guy unless you believe he's part of the solution. And if the Browns stumble out of the gate, especially with a quarterback not named Joe Flacco, Garrett's frustration could resurface quickly. It's a pressure cooker, folks. Every throw, every interview, every fan comment on social media, it all adds fuel. And the Browns don't have the luxury of time. Not with a schedule that could be brutal early on, and not with a fan base this emotionally invested. Because let's be honest, Browns fans aren't just fans. They're lifers. They've sat through rebuilds, regime changes, quarterback carousels, and heartbreaks so frequent it practically feels ritualized. And now, after a taste of playoff-caliber excitement last year, they're being asked to trust again. To believe in a roster that's been reshuffled, in a quarterback battle that's murky, and in a vision that hasn't been clearly defined. But there's a silver lining. In the heart of this chaos lies opportunity. The Browns could emerge stronger. They could rally around whichever quarterback earns it in camp. They could use Chubb's absence as a rallying cry, not a reason to regress. And Shedeur Sanders? He could surprise everyone, not by starting,